Hey everybody, welcome to Bearcat Insider. This is Travis Marsh, assistant coach for the Pilot Point Bearcats, and I'm here with Pilot Point's favorite son, Chance Kirby, real estate agent extraordinaire.
Hey everybody.
What else? What else can we use to describe you?
Yeah, let's move on. Depends on what the day is.
Okay. Well, basketball savant, from what I understand. You have notes.
I did. I took notes. The Paradise game, which I believe we're going to talk about first.
It will be first.
I was late.
What else is new?
Well, I had an EDC meeting. You know, I have to keep this town moving and stay involved. So
well, thank you. And for those out there, he's only late to things that involve me.
Not necessarily true, but okay. Moving on.
So, in this week's wardrobe watch,
It's the same jacket.
it is the same jacket, but I'm talking about Valley View Kid, because we played him again.
Oh, okay. Man, we're jumping ahead.
He was Son's leg sleeve.
Yeah?
I think he's a listener.
You think so?
I think he was self-conscious about it.
That's awesome.
Or
I need to look at our
or maybe it wasn't watched
I'll
or
look at our
washed.
analytics, and I can see if we have a Valley View listener.
Yeah, no, but he was Son's leg sleeve on Friday night.
For those of you out there thinking, oh my gosh, they can spy on me, that's only if you listen on the podcast version. I can't tell where you're watching other than United States on YouTube. So
Yeah, well, it gets a little bit better as far as the podcast. We can.
if you want to hide from the man, listen on YouTube.
Yeah, if you're worried about us tracking you down.
That's right.
And we only get a city. Is that right?
That's right. That's
yeah.
right. I don't get a ping of, wow, someone on the North Shore is
Yeah.
listening right now.
Well, that's right. So, it was a big week for Bearcat basketball. We became clinched to the playoffs in the 4th spot, which lines us up with a date with destiny with number 1 Dallas Madison in the future. That's all to be determined. We have an important game tomorrow night against Whitesboro. It does have implications for Whitesboro. It does not have any implications for us. We're stuck in 4th.
When do you start having that conversation about where it is?
Probably after the Whitesboro game. We have 1 game left. They have 2, and so
my vote's for Arbery.
Not my vote.
I just don't want to travel far.
Well, you won't have to travel too far.
Okay.
Now, traditionally, last year they played Gunner, I do believe. They played Gunner 1 year in Frisco, and then I think they played Whitesboro in Frisco last year.
Okay.
So I think we can probably expect a Frisco
Okay. I can live with that.
game location. That's unconfirmed. That's just, if you look at the past, that's kind of the way it's going to be trending.
Okay. But past performance is not indicative of future results. That's what they always say.
They're liars.
Okay.
It's actually the probably number 1 indicator of future performance. Because as Denny Green said, you are what your record says you are.
He did.
So, anyways, we digress. What else is new? So we had a 3-game week. We had a back-to-back with Paradise on Tuesday and Wednesday night to make up for a COVID casualty that the Paradise superintendent wanted to be a stick in the mud about. And then we had a game in Valley View. And then we'll finish out the regular season tomorrow night, Tuesday, February 9th, with our last regular season ball game in Whitesboro.
I want to interject because
absolutely.
I know the flow of the podcast, and I can see that you're rapidly approaching a commercial break, so
Yeah.
I want to slow you down just 1 second.
Okay, I was actually going to get through the first Paradise game and then take a commercial break.
Okay, well then we'll get to my topic later then. That's fine.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
Moving on.
All right. So the first Paradise game, it was a home game. It was a big game for the Bearcats. We knew that in order to keep our playoff hopes, alive, that we needed to at least, at very worst, split with them, and so we wanted to get the front end of that 1-1 or that front end of that back-to-back taken care of, and so we played them at home, and it was a 57-47 win at home. It was the return of Aiden Cox, which ended up paying dividends that night, and so
That's in my notes.
I would really like to start with your notes.
My notes?
Yes.
Okay. I was late because I was at the Pilot Point EDC meeting. Like I said, lots of things happening in Pilot Point. Stay tuned for that. So when I got there, Roger was working the camera, and when he's locked in, the engineer, he doesn't want you to mess up what he's got going on. So I sat there and thought, you know what? I'm going to take notes. So I did. First thing on the notes is JV game. I would like to talk about the JV game because I think you had a run-in, shocker, with the Paradise superintendent again. So I was just wanting to know, the fans out there need to know that running into this guy is not an isolated incident. It seems to happen every time that Paradise is involved. The superintendent inserts himself into the situation.
The relationship is still ice cold. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. It had to do with the JV game and running the clock in a blowout, and
anyway,
it's
y'all spoke. Okay.
Yeah, we spoke.
Okay.
So it's good, but it's good.
Okay.
Now, gosh, you have me completely off track now.
Knocked
Thanks.
you off real. Well, do you want to move on to number 2 on my notes?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, number 1 is taken care
Big
of.
question mark in the gym. Why did we start out with them shooting free throws?
Well, we had a technical in the pregame warm-up.
Okay.
Once the officials take the floor, most of the time you hear a whistle when the officials come out of the locker room, and that means, hey, the officials are on the floor. However, that is only a courtesy. They don't have to do it. It's just kind of a common thing. And post the arrival of the whistle, or of the officials and their whistle, they did whistle when they took the court. One of our players grabbed the rim, and that is a technical. They actually dunked it, but you cannot grab the rim or dunk or do anything like that once the officials get out there. Not sure why it's a rule, but it is a very common rule. Everybody knows. It shouldn't have been a shock, but
I have a theory on why it may be a rule.
Okay.
For those of you longtime Pilot Point folks, if you'll remember, I'm going to say 1987.
Okay, I was 4.
What is currently the junior high on the north goal, pregame warm-up, Marvin Newberry dunks it and shatters the backboard in pregame. So then the whole game was held up as Mr. Purcell and the staff went to the G school and actually took down the goal, brought it to the high school, and installed it while everyone waited so we could play that game. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe lots of rims get or glass backboards get broken in pregame warm-up when kids are showing out for the home fans.
A small part of me is just glad that we can dunk, and so
Why punish them?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, because I sure didn't enjoy starting the game losing 2-0. But that is why we started with a technical foul. And so they get 2 shots, and there is no pregame tip at that point. They just get possession of the ball.
The game starts.
Yep.
Everyone's going to be thrilled. I normally don't take notes because this is why the football post-game shows lasted so long, because of all my questions. We start off the game, according to my notes, with, I thought, a lot of turnovers. How many turnovers did we actually have in the game? We seemed to iron it out, but if you'll remember early, we seemed to be throwing the ball a lot to the other team.
I'm counting. 17 total. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where if you turn the ball over 17 times and win, you played well, other than turning the ball over.
Yeah. You have to make up for a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah. When we're already down 2-0.
And then we were on the wrong end. This is speaking of the game in general, not as specific as it. I thought we were on the wrong end of a lot of rebound frenzies again, meaning Paradise was getting multiple shots that we just weren't getting the ball to break it up.
And part of that is our positioning on rebounds. We spend a lot of time underneath the goal instead of, boxing out and kind of, actually rebounding and getting away from the basket, box out, get them on your back, and then go up to rebound the ball. We just lost that fight for position. And overall, our rebound numbers are good, but there were runs where it seemed like they got 4 offensive rebounds in a row and were able to put up 3 additional shots that if we would have taken care of business, they don't get those second chance opportunities. It's a lot like last night's Super Bowl. Man, if you get 3 defensive penalties against Tom Brady, he's probably going to put the ball in the end zone. And it's similar the same way with basketball. Those drive, the penalties that make a drive continue in football are a killer. And giving up offensive rebounds is the same way, because you have a chance to, box them out, go up and get that rebound, pull it down, and then you have possession. But instead, you allow them to have another scoring opportunity just because you didn't hustle or you didn't put yourself in good position. And sometimes you just have a good rebounder that out-rebounds you. But that is something that, was discussed at length with them of, better positioning, get out from underneath the goal, because when you're there, all you do is rebound the makes.
Number 5 for Paradise, how many points do he have? Do you have that there?
Give me just a second.
And then more specifically, if it breaks it down, I'm curious how many three-pointers he made. Because that guy...
He had 12 points, and he...
were they all three-pointers?
No, he only made 2. He
Really?
actually went 2 of 14.
Did he really? Well,
Yeah.
he was throwing them up. That's
Yeah,
why I was just curious. It seemed like he made more.
Yeah, no, he was 2 of 14 from the line.
Yeah, okay. Well, and then my last note, and you kind of alluded to it. Third quarter, Aiden took over.
Yes.
It was good to see. He obviously wasn't rusty.
He found that mid-range jumper.
Yeah.
And it looked nice. It was smooth. And he played really well. It was nice to have him back. He shot 82% on the night.
That's good.
So that's nice.
Seems like a good number.
And his 2 misses, I remember one of them for sure. It was just a layup that he just went up a little too hard, and it went over from right to left. It went over the rim. And other than that, I thought he settled, and I thought he played a great game.
Is there a bar for percentage, like that you like to see basketball guys? Like, hey, I would like them to be over this.
I don't consider myself a basketball guy.
When it's only me and you and Coconut the cat in the room, you are the basketball guy.
Okay, so I'm the expert by, I guess I don't know what you'd call it, by consequence. I don't know. Really what I'd like to see is, anything 35% and above from the three-point line is okay. Mm-hmm. And you look at the great shooters, and they're shooting over 40%. So, it may be something even 30% is a decent bar. You're a Hall of Famer in Major League Baseball at 30%, so why not make that a good high school three-point shooter? And then really you're looking at 60 to 70% for two-point field goals, just because you should be, and it really depends. A guy like Aiden that's right there around the basket, he needs to be up that high. A kid like Avery or a Rowdy that's going to shoot that mid-range jumper a lot more often, the percentage would go down to a little bit more as far as expectations. But if we're doing what we're supposed to do with the basketball, we should be getting open shots. And so that's my uneducated opinion.
Well, I'm out of notes. So what were your thoughts on the game?
It's nice it was nice to see Aiden back in just everything that he added. It was a good compliment to what's already been there. He's so good at rebounding and so good at positioning. Defensively, he's I don't want to say he's a calming presence, but he kind of is, because you already know that the middle is well taken care of, and then he's versatile as well. He's a very good on the ball defender as well. He immediately came in and played 30 minutes. That's big. That's a big plus for us, because to be able for him to absorb that many minutes and be as consistent of a producer as he is offensively and defensively, it really helps. So our big threes for the day is Aiden Cox was the leading scorer with 19, and then you had Avery and Ish that had 15 each. I don't know that that's an accurate number for Avery. I do believe he had more than that. I thought he was at 18 points. But that's not what Huddle says. Rebounding-wise, Aiden and Ish both had 12. That's a really good output there. And then Ish also added 5 assists, so there's no problem with that at all. And then defensively, no block shots. Hold on. I'm looking at Paradise's stats. Give me 2 seconds. defensively, Aiden had 3 block shots. And then we had Rowdy, Avery, and Aiden all had 2 steals each. So it was a pretty good output for the Bearcats. So before we get to the second half of our back-to-back with Paradise, let's take a quick break from for our sponsors.
Since 1983, the Scott Walker Insurance Agency has been covering the insurance needs of Pilot Point. Regardless of what that need may be, they have you covered, offering homeowners, auto, life, farm and ranch, and commercial. Give them a call at 940-686-2692. That's Germania Insurance, the Scott Walker Insurance Agency, located just north of the town square at 211 Scott Lane in Pilot Point, Texas. Scott Walker Insurance Agency, always there to help.
We want to wish our varsity cheerleader, Abby, a great senior year. Love Mom, Dad, and Michael.
Hillsville Barbershop and Salon and Southern Junkies has been home of the Bearcats since 1973. Whether you are looking for a classic crew cut or the perfect game day outfit, we have you covered. We carry a few fan favorite brands including Hey Dude Shoes, Judy Blue Jeans, D Supply Clothing, and Orleans Candle Company. Come check us out on the north side of the square in downtown Paula Point or online at www.southernjunkies.com, and that is junkies with a Z. And don't forget, go Bearcats!
All right, well, big thank you to those sponsors. And so we traveled to Paradise the next day, Wednesday night basketball.
Kind of NBA style, a little home and home.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Okay.
It's too much. It's too much basketball in 2 days for me. But I also had what felt like 400 basketball games in 10 days.
I was going to say, it was a wild week for you, if I remember you telling me.
Yeah, I had Monday off.
Okay.
And then I played Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I had my own kids' games on Saturday. And then the previous week I had Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Well, Tuesday, no games Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then Monday, Tuesday of this week. So it's been frantic. So I'm ready for it to slow down. But we traveled to Panther Country up there in Old Paradise. And it's a big game. You know, it's one of those things that if we win it, we're now going to be pushing ourselves into where we can, all the cards can fall to where there's a 3-way tie for second, or there's at least a tie for third and fourth, and you know.
Yes, because to back up the Paradise game at home, we've got word during that game that Ponder fell.
Yes, and so we were, and that didn't have to happen.
Oh, it did
because we had already split with Ponder, and so if Whitesboro and Ponder, if they split and then we split with Whitesboro, then we have a 3-way tie. In any way it worked out, we were going to have a 2-way tie for third, which means it was going to be a play-in game for third and fourth, and who gets to avoid Dallas Madison. So it's a big game in Paradise on Wednesday evening. And our kids come out, and at the end of the first quarter, we were losing 12-2. Not the
way you wanted it to
start.
Not
the dream start to that game at all. And I don't know if it's that our kids were flat because we were the only game that night, and it was a kind of a weird deal. I don't know what it was, but we start out that flat, and by the end of it, it is tied 38-38. So we battled back. I mean, we had battled back to the point where we had every opportunity to win the game, and really it just comes down to the fact we didn't get it done. No specific thing. We allow a big shot kind of at the end to put us in a lurch, and then we didn't get a good opportunity to get a shot up to go try to tie it. But it was just kind of a weird game. The slow start killed us, and you can look at certain things, and certain people's production went way down from what it had been before.
We have a weird game about every 2 weeks.
Oh, that's about right.
Dodge City.
Whitesboro, the first Whitesboro game.
Yeah.
So we're good for one of those, but so it ends up we lose 41-38, which that takes us out of second place contention, and then actually it doomed us to fourth place. That is kind of what did it. And so, your big three is Ish Harris was the leading scorer with 11. Avery had 9, and Dylan and Aiden had 6 apiece. Rebounding the ball, Aiden was the leader with 12. Ish had 5, and then Rowdy had 4. And then Avery was your leading assister, maybe, with 2. And then Aiden and Rowdy both had a block apiece, and then Avery had 2 steals, and Ish had 3 steals. So it was a game that didn't happen for us. Shots weren't falling. As a team, we shot poorly overall, and we struggled with keeping the ball in front of us defensively. We got out rebounded for the most part, most of the night, and we just made some uncharacteristic, unforced errors.
So now the consequences of that are we're, like you said, in 4th place.
We're in 4th place. We're locked into it with Dallas Madison. And, Dallas Madison's good. I mean, you're not ranked number 1 by accident. We definitely are going to have our work cut out for us. But, I hate it whenever you tell that to somebody and they look at you like you just told them that, it's like a death sentence. I think that's a terrible mentality to have. You hope that the attitude is that people embrace the challenge and they try to prepare themselves for what's coming. And
there's a Ric Flair quote that's fitting.
Oh, go for
right
it.
Here.
I'd love to hear it.
Isn't it to be the best, you got to beat the best? Or is that Hulk Hogan? I'm not an expert in
I don't know,
wrestling quotes.
We're Googling this right
live
now.
Coverage of Coach Marsh, searching that quote's origin.
All right, so into Google we put, to be the best, you have to beat the best wrestling. And, I think that...
is it Ric Flair?
It is Ric Flair.
All right.
Oh, Lord.
So then I have to say, woo. After
that's it. And so, and you're right. And that's the mentality that I want people to have, is that to get to where we want to go as a basketball program in general, you have to play through the best teams to get there. And so if it's round 1 when we have to do it, I say let's just go ahead and get after it.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting off. I would take a deep dive in statistics for me to see, but I'm sure number 1s fall all the time.
Yeah.
Pal, I'll kiss your boots if you can do it. But to be the man, you gotta beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here. I'm the man.
Wow.
Is that the quote you were talking about?
It's close, yeah.
Well, that's him saying it, so that has to be the one.
Yeah.
All right,
so man, you threw me all the way off track.
As Ric Flair said, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yes.
And so, I just hope that our kids embrace it and don't go into it thinking, oh, well, we're just going to get whipped or this or that. No, just...
No, and look what I was saying before Ric Flair interrupted me, that it's not often, and yes, I'm thinking of football, don't research a lot of basketball, but it's not often number 1 wins the whole thing anyway. More times than not, they don't. So
I think that's a burden.
Somebody's got to beat them.
I think being ranked number 1 is a huge burden. That's lofty expectations, and it's very rare that you have an Alabama that is so consistently highly ranked, or a 90s, early 2000s Duke basketball team, or an 80s to 90s North Carolina basketball team, that their culture of the program just embraces that number 1 mentality, and they use it as fuel.
More times than not, yeah, I would rather have the fuel of, man, they don't even think you can beat these guys, than every week being, we have to beat these guys.
Yeah, no, the underdog mentality is a lot more fun, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so we're going to take one more commercial break, and then we're going to go to the Valley View game.
Located in Pilot Point, Texas, the Chandler family has been making custom cabinets for over 40 years. As a team, Chandler Cabinets is committed to designing and building the perfect cabinets for you. They will make the process comfortable and stress-free by personally guaranteeing a superior product built on the standard of superior craftsmanship and immaculate customer satisfaction. From concept to completion, perfect form and function. Chandler Cabinets is an award-winning company with a reputation for consistent innovation at the highest level of design. You can find more information on Chandler Cabinets at chandlercabinets.net or on their Facebook page, Chandler Cabinets. Chandler Cabinets, 40 years of excellence.
Hi, I'm Greg Pelzel. Here at Pelzel Printing, we do custom embroidery, custom screen printing, and promotional product. You can reach Greg Pelzel at 940-453-5443. Go Bearcats.
All right, we're back. We got one game to go. I think that's Valley View, and you did tease in the opener that no leg sleeve.
No
in
leg
Valley
sleeve
View.
this week, and I will say this: old leg sleeve played a pretty solid game.
So he plays better when he doesn't put the added pressure of having to look the part.
I agree.
So how is it traveling to the North Shore? And the reason I want to ask that, it's interesting. Is it weird going back to some place that you've coached previously, or have you such a wily veteran now that it doesn't even bother you?
It's not weird at all. I mean, I kind of like it because I know my way around.
Yeah.
You know, I know where the dressing room is. You know, and it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Especially whenever you leave places amicably.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. There's no
I can see that.
There's no resentment going back, or
Yeah.
you know, you don't look. You're not looked at like it. You know, you have the scarlet letter or anything like that. You know, I walk in and the JV kids are all kids that I coached in junior high basketball, and you know, I knew a lot of the people that were there and people in the stands, and knew most of the varsity kids, and you know, I got along with everybody really well, and I wouldn't have left had it not been for the job that I wanted to open up, and so. Yeah, it's good. It's fun to go back, you know, and to see everybody, and you know, all that stuff. It's a little homecoming-ish, I guess you could say.
And one more question about coaching changes. I've always wondered but never asked, so I'm just going to ask you on
here
the
we
air.
go. Why not?
And you know, like, we'll talk about. We won't even pick on you. Let's
You can
let's
pick
say
on me. I'm here.
when Coach Worrell left Brock and went to El Campo.
Yes.
Did he throw away all of his Brock gear? Like, will he not wear? Does that go in the trash? Do you not want people to see you wearing the blue anymore?
I keep 2 shirts from every stop
Okay.
in my hat
Yeah. So like,
because you know
like yesterday, walking around the house watching the Super Bowl. If that was what was on top of the clothes pile, you would put it on. You wouldn't look at it like, no, I'm not going to wear this.
you know I try not to wear my Valley View gear around town.
Sure.
Like if I'm going to go to the grocery store, say I've been out mowing the lawn in a Valley View shirt. If I'm going to go to the grocery store, I normally will take off my Valley View shirt and I'll either put on a Baylor shirt or a Pilot Point shirt. Just because, I don't know, I guess you don't want to send a message like, ooh, does he still wish he was at Valley View?
No, I agree.
You know,
That's
and so,
why I was wondering if you just don't completely trash
So
all of it.
I keep 2 shirts, or if, you know, from Valley View, I always keep my I don't know if you want to, I don't know what word to use, but my memorial shirts, like a playoff shirt.
Sure.
Or my state qualifier shirt from Valley View, or, you know.
Accomplishment shirts.
You know, trophy shirts.
Yeah.
I like to keep those. But, you know, as far as most shirts, I'll keep a couple and just cut the sleeves off so I have something to work in. But
You got to have the gun show.
That's right. And, you know, but I'll keep a couple of shirts and not cut them up. You know, I have a Era shirt and a few Collinsville shirts and whatnot. I have one University Trojan shirt left. It's on its last legs, though. It's wearing out
pretty
quickly.
thin.
Yes, it is. I hardly wear it because I'm scared I'm going to ruin it. I don't have a Houston Westside shirt. I have Houston Westside shorts.
I know we have some listeners down there.
Yeah, so
If anybody
so
wants to send one up here.
yeah, the Westside Wolves. I'd gladly take a Westside Wolves shirt. Have a bunch of Sanger. I'm down to a couple shirts.
For the record, I won't wear any other shirt.
Why?
This is just how bizarre I
I want to
am.
buy you some Opry shirts.
And that won't happen. Here's how weird I am, boy. Here's pulling the curtain back, and people are like, golly, that guy is strange. Ask my kids. My daughter graduated from Princeton, all district in volleyball, set several school records in track. I never wore a Princeton shirt.
Did you wear Pilot Point shirts, or do you just
I just wear white. You can always wear white. And I bought one that
makes you non-committal.
And I also wore one that Athena would argue wasn't even maroon. I think it was. But, man, I'm just too much of a Pilot Point guy. I just cannot put on another high school shirt. I just can't do it.
Well, you know, I wore my Friday
we
Friday
know.
black underneath every game day polo for years. So I understand.
So shout out to Athena if you're listening and laughing right now, because you
And-
can never get me to wear a Princeton shirt.
And Houston West Side, turn up and send me a shirt.
So
Yeah.
everybody's like, yes, please.
Yeah,
Valley
Valley
View
View.
game. Yeah,
Yep.
what happened?
70-33.
Okay.
We took the dub. Kids played well. They played hard. Going into it, we know what to expect. You don't want to count it as a win, but we knew from our previous game that they're kind of outmatched because they're young. But what we had seen is a trend of their scores getting closer and closer
They're
and
figuring
closer.
it out.
And they played really well for the first half. We were still winning at half, but it was a game. We couldn't just put them away. They kept hanging around. And then finally in third quarter, we had a big third quarter, and that kind of blew the doors open on it. But man, everybody played well. It was a good all around game for the Cats. I do believe for maybe the first time all season, maybe the second time, everyone scored. And I was very, very impressed with Jackson Baker coming off the bench, and he scored 8 points. He actually does make the big three for points, but I wanted to make sure I got that in there, that he scored 8 points, all of them in the paint, and he really, really played well. And I will say this about Mr. Jackson Baker. I get to high school about 5:55 every morning to open up the gym for junior high basketball, and whenever I got there on Friday morning, in walks Jackson at 5:55. And he sets up our shooting machine called the gun. That's the automatic rebounder, and then it kicks the pass out back to you. And he was on the gun from about 6 a.m. to about 7:20, shooting and shooting and shooting.
That made my arms hurt.
Whatever it did, it worked, because I thought
Made the ball go in the basket.
it made the ball go in the basket, and that's the whole point of the game.
Yeah.
And so, not only was I proud of him for going up there and putting in the extra time, but I was also so happy that putting in the extra time reflected in the game. Because that's the thing is you have a kid that works and he does extra stuff, and then if nothing changes and he still doesn't make shots, then it's like, well, why'd I put in the extra time? And so I was happy to see that it worked out, and he was actually at the gym again this morning at 5:55. Shooting baskets in preparation for Whitesboro. And so hats off to Jackson Baker for putting in the time. Our big threes, Avery was the points leader with 22, and then you had Jackson Baker and Ish that had 8 apiece, and then Aiden and Rowdy were right behind with 7. Aiden was the leading rebounder with 11, then Jay had 7, and Cade Carter had 6. And then on the defensive end with blocks, we had Rowdy had 2, Aiden had 1, and then Rowdy was our leading, I guess you could call him the leading thief with 3 steals.
Okay.
I mean, why not?
Okay. Hey, why not?
It makes him sound a little rougher.
That's right.
Not that his name being Rowdy isn't good enough. I always laugh because there's a sorry, random thoughts from Coach Marsh. I always laugh
I
because
need to find an intro for that.
directly into you walk into the locker room and there's a cement wall immediately in front of you, so people can't see in there. And there's a sign and it says, "Let's get rowdy." And I always think to myself, man, I wonder if Rowdy feels intimidated. Like, man, am I going to come in here and everybody's going to get me? But that's not how it's intended. But I laugh every time I walk by because that's what I think to myself.
Doesn't take a lot to make you laugh, does it?
I'm a simple guy.
Obviously.
I'm a simple guy, and it makes me happy. Every day that I walk by, it makes me happy. So, yeah, I tell the kids at school I don't have bad days. They're like, Coach Marsh, you never have a bad day. I was like, I don't have bad days. Some days are better than others, but I don't have a bad one.
If they did basketball run-through signs, I can see a future
Let's get rowdy.
run-through sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be the other teams, though.
Well, it depends.
Because we don't want to get rowdy.
Do they mean it literally, like
Let's get him?
it's the question, or is it can be kind of a whole double entendre thing, and then I don't know.
You just said double entendre.
Yeah,
What?
big word.
I know, I'm out. But there was a sign on the wall. See, I pay attention to different stuff than Coach Price does. He has to worry about real basketball
Actually
problems.
coaching, yeah.
Me, I just live in my own little ignorant bliss world, and Boyd, there's a sign that says, "We're not afraid to foul out." How is that good?
That is weird.
Yeah, why would you say that? I never understood it. But anyways, I hope SNS has some good ones tonight during the middle school game, and I'll report on those next week.
I can't wait.
And then Whitesboro as well. Let's take one more commercial break. And then when we come back, we will unveil the Caleb Marsh Player of the Week.
There is no better source for local news than the Pilot Point Post-Signal. Pilot Point Post-Signal has been covering Pilot Point since 1878, providing award-winning, top-notch coverage of Pilot Point and the Pilot Point Bearcats. You can start your subscription today by going to postsignal.com and signing up for their special, which is 2 months free of the digital and print copy, or you can call their phone number at 940-686-2169. The Pilot Point Post-Signal, the best source for local news.
Cat fans, one thing that I love about walking into the field house is looking at all the old pictures that you have from years past and being able to relive the history of those great teams and great players. And I love walking through with my sons and showing them a picture and saying, man, look at that guy, and telling them a story about a great play. And you can have the same opportunity to do that with your family by using Ashley Marsh Photography to capture your family's great memories. Seeing those pictures of your family will allow you to talk to your kids or your grandkids and tell great stories about things that you've done or things that you've seen or just funny memories that you might have. So if you ever want to document your family's history, please contact Ashley Marsh Photography. You can find her on Facebook, on Instagram using Ashley Marsh Photography, as well as her website, ashleymarshphotography.com.
All right, and so we're back. Now, I have a question for you.
We'll start off with a question.
Yeah, because somebody gave me feedback off of a YouTube video. Well, not a YouTube video, of a podcast. And they had listened to it on YouTube. And they asked me a question. I have no idea what it means.
Okay.
So they listened to the 10 with Todd, which so kindly has been pointed out was longer than 10.
We never promised 10 with Todd was 10 minutes. It could be 10 questions. It could be 10 listeners.
Well, it's way more than 10
always
listeners.
Is more than 10, but anyway.
But so they asked me about the demographic report, and I didn't have a good answer, but I know they're a listener. And so I was going to ask their question on air.
Okay, great.
I don't understand real estate. You obviously do, because you've been doing it for
almost 30 years.
So double my coaching career.
Yes.
What in the world do you mean with low inventory with the demographic report?
I'm going to answer that, and I can sum it up pretty quickly.
Okay.
Low inventory means exactly what there is less on the shelves than there is normally. Now, what happens is, think back to your GME, GameStop excitement a couple of weeks ago.
Ooh, yep.
There's literally a short squeeze on houses right now. There's so few houses in town for sale that it's making the price of those houses steadily climb. And then you're going to see advertisements and everyone's saying, hey, sell your house because the market's great, it's low inventory. I'm not convinced that that's necessarily what you want to do. I just want to issue a disclaimer real quick. Yes, low inventory means you can get more for your house, but you know what happens once you sell your house? You are then having to search that same low inventory to buy your next house. It's just a whole lot bigger picture than just, yes, it's great to sell my house right now, put your house up for sale and take the big money. It's awesome for your realtor, but I'm not convinced that it's always the best thing for you. So, yes, low inventory is great and it needs to be solved, but if you got questions about it, you can call me.
Okay, so
anyone can Google me.
Next
Chance
time,
Irick Real Estate.
Next time, instead of asking me,
yes,
like I can actually provide any kind of answer.
Yes.
They should call you.
Yes, and in conclusion, low inventory is great when you're selling, but the moment you sell, unless you're going to buy an Airstream and drive all around the country, you immediately become a buyer, which then it kind of creates a problem.
Gotcha.
So you need to have a plan. But I have a question for you.
940-300-6900.
That is correct.
All right.
Yes, call, text me, however you want to do it. We'll talk. You already know me. You listen to me talk every week if you listen to this. But I have a question for you.
Okay.
About a year ago, I think it was a year ago right now, I made you cry on air, made me really happy.
Okay.
And I want to talk about signing day real quick, not intending to make you cry.
Okay.
And I know it's not basketball, though we did have one of the basketball players that did sign.
Yes.
But I want to pat my partner, my life partner, my podcast life partner on the back here.
We share a bank account.
If those of you go out, Google it, YouTube, whatever your favorite way to search things is, you will not find a coach anywhere that made as big of a deal, that went on video and was as proud of his kids as you were. Like I said, I'm not trying to make you cry, although I see that look on your face. I'm kind of getting worried.
No, I'm good.
But why do you do that? Why? And I told someone that. I think it was Sean Cooper's Twitter. He posted about someone talking about you and how touched they were. And this was some dude I don't even know. I sent it to you.
Yeah.
I've never heard of the guy. But he said, man, what a step for Pilot Point coaches to go out there for these kids. And that's when I started looking. There's no coach. No head coach, no assistant coach, no, what do you call them, where you pay a coach these days? What do they call select coach?
Yeah.
There is no coach that's doing what you do for these kids. Why do you do it? Why do you step out there, and why are you doing something that nobody else is doing?
To me, it's a free education because of a reduced cost education based on their ability to do something that they love, and so it's an avenue that I really try to push people down and get as much done for them as I can, because I know the dividends that it will pay later. If Max graduates from Missouri Valley and Scotty graduates from Lincoln and Jay puts in his 2 years at Cisco and then goes somewhere else and graduates, that degree it's a game changer. Not that you have to have a degree to be successful, but the path that these guys have chosen, they need that degree to go do whatever it is they're going to go do.
Yeah, but see, I don't think, to me, back to me being proud of my partner, that doesn't make you different than any other coach. But you taking the extra step to promote it, to take the time to talk to them about what they did and make it a big deal, there's no one doing that.
Well, I tell people all the time that I treat all these kids like they're my own.
Yeah.
And I would do that for Michael, Miles, Matthew, or Malaya. I hope to someday. That'd be awesome. But no, that's a commitment that I've made to parents and to these kids. I'm going to coach you and I'm going to treat you like you're my own kid.
Well, I think it's special. And anyone that hasn't watched those, they're on our YouTube channel. It's, like I said, you're not going to find anyone else in the state of Texas. And there were a lot of kids that signed, was it February 3rd?
I think so. It's been,
a lot of
feels
kids
like 3 weeks ago.
Signed February 3rd. What you will not find, or I couldn't, and I consider myself pretty handy in the internet, you're not going to find more than 3 videos of a coach talking to his kid about how proud he is and sharing those. And all 3 of those videos are you.
Yeah. So awesome.
I don't know. Good job, Coach.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I'm so proud of those kids, and I can't wait for the next crop of kids to put out there and kids to push, and I just hope that next year it's more than 3. That's my goal, is to keep trying to put our kids on the recruiting map, and it's nothing that I do. I just highlight the things that they do. And I just try to make the most of the opportunities that I get to push our kids and to get them out there in front of people. And, you do a great job of helping with everything that you do on Twitter that, I retweet all over the place. And so, that's it. I want to get them out there, and gosh, I hope we can go from 3 to 6 and just keep growing it to where it doesn't matter where these kids are going to college. Just let's get them somewhere where they can continue to play and continue to receive some amount of financial assistance, and create a place where colleges know that they can come and look, and if you get a Bearcat, you're going to get a great citizen, and you're going to get a great student, and somebody that's going to be an asset to their program.
Well, and the ripple effect that you may or may not even be aware of, it helps the school. And as a realtor, I can tell you it helps the community, because when people are moving here from another area, they're looking at all towns, and what you're doing definitely makes Pilot Point different than other schools in this area.
Well, and I can't call anybody up and recruit them.
No, I'm not talking about
I can't
that.
do that. I can't do the Nick Saban.
Yeah.
But what I can do is show what Pilot Point offers just to the general public. Just anybody who wants to know can go to at PP Bearcat blog on Twitter or to at Coach Marsh 22 on Twitter, and they'll get a crash course in what we try to do here, which is highlight the accomplishments of our kids.
Which is just another thing that makes Pilot Point ISD, in my opinion, in this town special and different than every other one.
Best kids in the state of Texas. I can promise you that.
Speaking of best kids, how about that as a segue?
Hey, like a true professional.
Tell us about this Caleb Marsh.
All right,
I'm going to let you reveal what the Player of the Week name is this
Absolutely.
week.
So this week's Caleb Marsh Player of the Week is actually it's going to be the National Go Fly Kite Day.
February 8th.
Player of the Week, brought to you by Caleb Marsh. And it's going to go to Aiden Cox. It might not be the Return of the Jedi, but it's the closest thing we have to it. And he was an automatic contributor as soon as he stepped onto the floor, just with raising the confidence of others around him. Played great defense. He was really a help to us on offense and rebounding and just everything that Aiden brings. He doesn't bring loud leadership. He just brings his lunch pail, and he's ready to go to work every game. And so Aiden Cox, you can put this right up there with any award that you've ever gotten.
Add it to the clearinghouse.
National Fly Kite Day Player of the Week, Caleb Marsh.
Thank you, Caleb Marsh.
All right. Yes, thank you to my brother who, thankfully for Ish, he has pitted Caleb and myself in a Twitter war over who's smarter. Thanks, Ish, for that. I will lose that every day of the week.
I'm no offense to you. I'm shocked that that's even a debate.
I was talking trash
Oh, okay.
about Caleb to Ish.
I mean, it's
And
not.
then Ish just put me out there on Twitter.
Yeah. It's not like we're arguing Madden. We're talking actually.
Yeah, we're talking the guy who's on his way to a doctorate.
Yes.
And then there's me. So, yeah, I graduated not magna cum laude, but just laude, as my mom would say.
Hey, the last guy in his class at med school, they still call doctor.
So they call me Coach.
Exactly.
All right, well, big thank you from our sponsors, Pelzel Printing, Southern Junkies, Ashley Marsh Photography, the Pilot Point Post Signal, Chandler Cabinets, and last but not least, Dana Walker with Germania Insurance. Without the support of these wonderful local sponsors, we wouldn't be able to bring you this awesome podcast. And Ric Flair, you wouldn't have heard him without those local sponsors. And so to be the man, you got to beat the man. If we want to keep these great businesses going, go be the man or woman and support these local businesses.
Will our next podcast be after that game, or will we have one before?
We'll have a Whitesboro, and then we'll kind of throw in a pre-game for Dallas Madison in it.
Okay,
next
everybody
Monday.
subscribe to the YouTube channel or the podcast platform you're listening to so you won't miss that. And if there's just something that you have against subscribing to things, just at least like it. Can we get that out of you? Can we get a like commitment out of you if you don't want to subscribe?
It says the guy who can't commit to wearing any shirt from another town. Non-committal chance.
But I would subscribe and like our podcast.
All right, very good. And as always, go Bearcats.
Whoa, whoa.